Okay, first let me say I debated about posting this here because I may be overreacting about a few weird things that have happened in the last couple weeks here at my house. But then I decided to go ahead and post it anyways and see what y'all think about it. And please tell me if I'm overreacting. I won't be offended at all if anyone tells me I'm being silly. First off, our house has a basement crawl space that's only accessible from outside, through a door directly underneath my bedroom window and about 10 feet from the bottom of the steps leading up to the back deck. It's a fairly large space, dirt floor and concrete walls, clean and plenty big enough for a grown man to stand up in. Until recently, it was half full of junk, mostly from our kitchen renovation, like paint cans and equipment and extra floor tiles and such, and I had a padlock on it. We asked our yard guy to do some extra work that included cleaning it completely out, and when it was empty, we didn't bother putting the lock back on it. It has a sliding bolt on it that keeps it closed in addition to the little loop thingy that you put the padlock on. So we just slid in the bolt and called it good. There was absolutely nothing in it, so no point in locking it. A couple weeks ago, my boyfriend was out on the back deck emptying the recycling bins and noticed the door was open. Someone would have had to open it. The sliding bolt is a bit rusty, and it wouldn't easily come open and certainly wouldn't have opened on its own. He went and checked it out. Nobody there. Still completely empty. He thinks, well, okay, someone was poking around and didn't find anything interesting, but he did tell me about it and reminded me to keep the doors locked when he isn't home. A few days after that, I had the dog outside and he ran straight to the door and started sniffing and scratching at it, and I noticed it was slightly open again. I opened it, went inside and walked around, but there was nobody there. Let me add here that we have a lot of trees and wildlife on our property, including raccoons and groundhogs in addition to tons of squirrels. We have one huge oak tree that overhangs the roof, covering the master bedroom, so it's nothing unusual to hear squirrels and other animals on the roof with their little pattering feet and scratching sounds. Yesterday, I was here alone, laying in bed reading a book, the house completely silent. Usually the dog will lay in bed with me, but he was fidgety acting. He was pacing and just acting weird. I was hearing the usual late afternoon squirrels or whatever on the roof. But then I hear a noise that is clearly the crawlspace door creaking open. It is directly underneath the window to my right, so I stand up and creep over to the window, crack the shades a tiny bit to peek out, and I see a guy staring up the steps to the back deck, having just exited the crawlspace. I immediately said, "Oh fuck no," dropped the shades and headed up the hall directly to the door he was heading for to confront him. At that same moment, my dog went nuts, barking and beat me to the door, but he was nowhere in sight when I got there. I only saw him through the window for a second. I only saw him from the back as he was heading up the steps. He was wearing a baseball cap, so I couldn't even have seen what color hair he had. I'm guessing my dog scared him away, but what the fuck was he doing walking up to my porch in broad daylight with someone obviously home? He hadn't planned on knocking on the door, and no one would knock on that door anyway. People come to the front to knock, not walk all the way out the back in the trees in the backyard. I waited a few minutes, then got my pepper spray out of my purse and went out to invest in being. Not even in self-defense, and rat shot won't do much more than scare someone with the noise of the gunshot. He was highly pissed at me that I went by myself into the basement to check things out, but I'm more angry than frightened. I don't know if I'm overreacting. That just because someone had been inside the basement a few times, I automatically assumed that the man I saw was responsible and meant harm. I'm fairly certain he did come from there, though, because I definitely heard the door open just seconds before I saw him on the steps. With it locked up now, though, if someone had been routinely in and out, that will stop. Like I said, I just don't know if I'm freaking out over nothing. I'm keeping my doors locked just in case. So this didn't happen to me. It happened to my friend who got a new house, and he told me to share it. It's a little chilling. My friend had gotten a good deal on his first house, something like $100,000. Really good for a small house. However, as soon as he moved in, something was off. He lived there with his girlfriend. The first encounter with the noises was when they were inside the house, moving in. My friend was going up to the attic to store some extra stuff that wouldn't fit to pawn off later. As he was going up the ladder to the attic, he heard a scrambling noise. He went up, and a terrible smell hit him. It was a 20-year-old house, and he thought nothing of it. After he went down, he heard something in the attic. He figured it was a rodent, and after a few weeks, called an exterminator. The exterminator went up and found a bunch of cocaine, heroin, every drug you can think of just sitting there. He called the cops, and they arrived to search the house. My friend was cuffed, the house was searched, the attic was searched. They found a pipe in the corner leading to a crawlspace that they didn't know of. The cops went back downstairs and searched the house. They eventually found nothing. My friend took it upon himself to break the base underneath the house. He found a living space with his stuff from the attic, and a guy with long brown hair, a torn hoodie, and my friend's extra shoes. He yelled for the cops, who were still out front, and got the fuck out of there. The cops wanted the man to put his gun down, and he did. They then told him to get in cuffs. He walked over to the hole my friend had broke, and accepted his fate. He was charged with illegal drug trafficking and sentenced to a year in prison. It still creeps my friend out, even though he moved the heck away from that place a few months ago, to know that some drug dealer was hiding in his house for months and with a gun. I have a phobia that goes by a few names: scopophobia, ophthalmophobia, the fear of being watched. I have this weird compulsion. Whenever I see a doorway, a window, or virtually any surface that I believe someone could hide behind, I imagine a face peering out at me, staring. I imagine what I would do. What could I do? You will soon find out why I have this phobia. On to the story. I'll try my best to remember all the details, but my mind has repressed a lot of it. Around June of 2016, my mother and I were living in a small apartment. There was no basement or attic, obviously, but there was one tiny crawl space in the closet floor of my bedroom. I never looked in it. I suppose some people would be overwhelmed with curiosity, but my mind had already imagined all the worst case scenarios. I decided to leave whatever dead bodies and ghosts were down there for whoever rented after us. It was a nice apartment, small but perfect for the two of us. We lived there for a few peaceful months until the noises started. It was nothing extreme, just the odd bump in the night, and particularly scratching. My mom just brushed it off as rats in the walls. As long as they stayed in there, I saw no reason to get rid of them. A week or two later, I had already grown used to the noise. It became almost comforting in a way. After all, I never really liked silence. That is, until I awoke one night to a different noise. A rolling noise, eerily similar to the sound my closet made when I opened it. I peeked my eyes open and looked over, but I couldn't make out anything in the dark. I thought maybe I saw something move, but I was well aware of how the mind plays tricks on you in the dark. There's only one way to find out. I turned on my lamp. I feel like crying just writing this out. It's been almost a year since I've had to recall this night. When I turned on the light, I expected to just see a closet full of coats. But what I saw was much, much worse. It was an eye. Not just an eye, but the entire half of someone's face, barely visible in the tiny crack he had opened. He didn't even react to being caught. No smile, no fear, just watching. My heart has never beat faster than it did that night. I wish I screamed or maced him or anything, but I just stared back, frozen in time until I couldn't hold it anymore. I began sobbing, loudly. I think I tried to say something along the lines of, "What do you want?" But it was garbled by my crying. He opened the door more. I could now see his entire body, which I don't care to describe as I've spent 2 long years trying to forget that face. Shh. I lost my breath at that. Hearing him made it real. I couldn't pretend this was some fucked up hallucination anymore. At this, I sat up and pressed my back against the wall. "It's okay, Natalia," he said it so cheerfully. It gives me chills just remembering it. This is when I finally had the courage to run out of the room. This creep knew my name. My fucking name. My mom, still half asleep while she called the police, thought I had imagined it. Of course, by the time the police got there, he was already long gone. All that was left of him was the damn crawlspace. I still never looked inside. Though, writing this now, I kinda wish I did. Having some sort of proof of this would, I don't know, comfort me, because at least y'all would know I'm not crazy. Apparently he had been living in there for how long, I don't know, but the officers who first arrived on the scene said that there were tally marks inside the crawlspace. I didn't want to know how many. I didn't want to know whether he was marking days or weeks. I just wanted to leave that fucking apartment, and we did. The police never found him, not for certain. They thought they found a homeless man who matched his description, but he was apparently unresponsive. I always thought they didn't take it all that seriously. They just thought he was a squatter, even after I told them that he knew my name. They thought that given how long he had seemingly been squatting, he had probably just heard my name through the floorboards. Since that night, he has been the face I always see when there's an open door or closet. It's grown more distorted as time goes on, but I can always make out a part of his pursed lips, as if he's still shushing me, even now. It's gotten easier with time, but I don't think it will ever leave me completely. Anyway, I guess we didn't actually have rats. Hey guys, just wanted to take a quick second and say thank you for all the likes, comments, subscribes, the feedback, and kind messages. I really appreciate it, and it encourages me to keep making more content for you guys. I know originally I said I was going to post about 100 videos this year, but I feel more motivated to go even beyond that because of you guys. So if you're new to the channel or haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to get updates on my newest videos. Thanks again.